This is your news source evening bulletin for today, Tuesday, the 11th day of August in the year 2020. I'm Gordon Mosley. Here's what we're tracking tonight. Customs officials in the port of Hamburg in Germany have unearthed what has been described as the largest single cocaine haul in the country in recent years. And that cocaine haul is linked to Guyana. Officials in Germany are reporting that 1.5 tons of cocaine was found stashed in a container with a rice shipment from Guyana. The container arrived aboard a container vessel, Jean Gabriel. According to reports out of Germany, the police found the container just after it had been offloaded in the container yard at the port. It had been scheduled to be transported to Poland. German investigators reportedly received a confidential tip about a drug smuggling operation and began a thorough search of the container yard. When the container was examined at the city's customs office, investigators told one of the daily newspapers there that they discovered 47 large packages of cocaine hidden between sacks of rice coming from Guyana. The investigators estimated the value of the cocaine to be more than $350 million US. They assumed that after reaching Poland, the drugs would have been sold in bulk and ultimately been on the streets across Europe. An international broadcaster in Germany reported that this was among the largest quantities of cocaine ever seized in Hamburg. The customs officials said that the discovery was proof that the illegal narcotics business was continuing, despite all the restrictions due to the global coronavirus pandemic. Guyana's Customs Anti-Narcotics Unit is aware of the bust and is working along with the Guyana Revenue Authority's Customs Department to get details on the rice shipment that was loaded on the container. News source understands that there are just 2 companies in Guyana that export rice using that particular container vessel. A senior official of KANU has also indicated that they are working closely with the German security officials on the bust, as an investigation has been launched into the shipment locally. More news coming up in just a moment.
Tired of long lines? Register with MyGTT at mygtt.co.gy. That's mygtt.co.gy to view and pay your bills from anywhere. Enter to win an Amazon gift card worth $25 US or a bounty voucher worth 5,000 Guyana dollars when you sign up today. GTT, do more.
GBTI is your Guyanese bank, a bank that understands every customer's unique needs, opportunities, challenges, and financial concerns. At GBTI, we see you for you. Whether you're buying a new home or car, planning your next vacation or retirement, saving for your child's future, or whether you're ready to take that bold step of investing in your dream business idea, we are with you every step of the way. We hear your stories and watch you focus on your dreams as we share your aspirations. We are more than just banking. We are a family. We are part of your community. Our commitment extends way beyond the walls of our branches and is demonstrated every day in the opportunities we provide to our individual and business customers. The support, time, and commitment we give back to communities across Guyana to help improve the lives of our Guyanese families. Because we see Guyana through your eyes.
Welcome back. In a meeting of the Central Executive Committee of the People's National Congress on Monday, Party leader David Granger laid down the 10-point criteria, which he nicknamed the 10 Commandments, that will guide the party's selection of the members who will be heading to the National Assembly as part of the APNU-AFC coalition. According to sources close to the meeting, Mr. Granger made it clear that all of the parties in the coalition have to follow his 10-point criteria. He has already expressed some reservations about one of the members from the Alliance for a Change who's likely to be among that party's nominees for the National Assembly. The PNC leader told his Central Executive Committee that party members who served in Parliament for many years should not expect being sent there again. since he wants to see more youths and women being represented. The Central Executive Committee was told that at least 50% of the coalition's list should be women. He also said that he wants persons from various professions being represented and not just lawyers, pointing out that in the last parliament there were more than 6 lawyers representing the coalition. News Source also understands that Mr. Granger made it quite clear to the Central Executive Committee that he remains the leader of the party and the head of the list, and he would have no issue with using the recall legislation whenever members of parliament do not follow the principles that will be set out for them. The other partners in the APNU have also been told of Mr. Granger's 10-point criteria for selection. Additionally, News Source has learned that the other parties in the APNU will be called upon to show and prove their membership in order to get a seat in the Assembly as part of the coalition. The Central Executive Committee meeting also saw party members and former ministers Simona Brooms and Joe Harmon being co-opted on the Central Executive. Using the party's constitutional provisions, the PNC leader added the two to the party's Central Executive Committee. Still in the world of politics, the new administration is continuing its house cleaning with the dismissal of several government workers it has labeled as political appointees. Today, ministerial advisor in the Ministry of Natural Resources, Beverly Alert, was told to pack her bags as she has been terminated from her job. Alert, who is an executive of the Alliance for Change, is among the new faces that are likely to head to Parliament under the APNU-AFC coalition in opposition. Yesterday, the managing director of the Guyana Water Incorporated, Dr. Richard Van West Charles, was informed of the termination of his contract. That termination will take effect in October, but he has been told to proceed on leave. Van West Charles was a candidate for the APNU-AFC at the recent elections, but he has been credited with the leadership of the GWI in the past 5 years, spearheading a number of critical projects, especially in the hinterland communities. Also dismissed yesterday was the Director of Sport, Christopher Jones, who was also a candidate for the APNU-AFC at the last elections. Jones reportedly received his marching orders from the new Minister of Culture and Sport, Charles Ramsden Jr. Jones, who worked in the position for 5 years, said he hopes all of his benefits will be paid. A number of other government workers appointed under the last government have been told to proceed on leave as they will be terminated. The Ministry of Local Government and Regional Development has also raised concern about the number of political persons and advisors in that ministry, which was the former Ministry of Communities. The new Minister of Local Government, Nigel Dharamlal, said that along with the junior minister, Anand Prasad, they conducted a quick assessment of the ministry, and it was found that there were several positions filled, but with no clear indication or report of the jobs that were being done. Many of those persons are expected to lose their jobs also. Turning now to the agriculture sector. The new PPP civic government, which campaigned on the promise of reopening the sugar estates that were closed under the previous government, is not setting any timeline for any such reopening. Minister of Agriculture Zulfikar Mustafa, during a virtual press conference today, said the situation would have to be properly assessed before any timeline could be set to keep that campaign promise.
I can't give you an exact time, but these things we have to work along to ensure that we establish the financial status of NISIL and Gaisuco in terms of the $30 billion. We also look at to establish that Gaisuco get back their assets, and we have to do a conditional survey, which will happen very shortly, so that we can reopen these estates. But I want to reiterate the PPP's commitment that the closed sugar estate will be reopened.
The Agriculture Minister also explained that although a timeline cannot be set at this stage, the reopening of the estates is a priority for the new government.
We have to also do a conditional survey at the various estates. And these things, what I am saying about these are things that would not take too much time to happen. Too much time. I was very heartening last Saturday in His Excellence's inauguration speech. He mentioned that is the opening of the closed sugar estate is high on the priority list of the People's Progressive Party Civic Administration.
The sugar industry in Guyana has been under decline for the past decade and a half since the European Union slashed the price for sugar under the previous PPP civic government. The last APNU-AFC government closed 3 of the sugar estates as the situation in the sugar industry worsened 3 years ago. The unions representing sugar workers were critical of the closure, while mindful of the challenges that were facing the industry. They are now hopeful that the PP Civic Administration will be able to reopen the estates as promised during the campaign. In the past 24 hours, Guyana has recorded a total of 34 new coronavirus cases, taking the total number of active cases to 391. In its COVID-19 dashboard today, the Ministry of Health revealed that the recoveries remain at 189. There are also 4 persons in the COVID-19 intensive care unit at the Georgetown Hospital. Guyana has recorded a total of 602 cases. That number includes the recoveries and deaths. 51% of those who tested positive for coronavirus are men, with 49% being women. The number of women testing positive for the virus has been climbing steadily. 18 of the 34 new cases are men, with the remaining 16 being women. The majority of new cases continue to come from the hinterland communities, with regions 7 and 9 having the highest numbers, representing more than 250 of the active cases. The Ministry of Health has been pushing to get more testing completed daily. Guyana has been receiving more testing kits from the international community, and support has also been trickling in to the regions. With Guyana seeing the cases of coronavirus climbing steadily, the Ministry of Education has started to engage various stakeholders on the issue of the reopening of schools. Schools in Guyana have been closed since March because of the coronavirus pandemic. Today, Education Minister Priya Manik Chand met and held discussions with the Guyana Teachers Union on the issue of the reopening of schools. Minister Manik Chand told news source this evening that the decision to reopen schools is not just one for the Education Ministry, since the country is dealing with a health crisis.
I'm still in the process of trying to gather all the information we need to gather, and that's why we met with the Guyana Teachers Union today to hear from them what their view on the matter is, and then we'll make a decision. This is not an Education Ministry decision alone, because it will have to involve us taking into consideration the science and the biology and the trajectory of this disease, and that is a Ministry of Health. That's in their domain. They'd be best able to advise us on that. So it will not be a single ministry decision. And so to answer you clearly, the decision has not been made as yet.
And the Education Minister also announced today that the results for the National Grade 6 assessment examinations will not be made known until the 25th of September. The NGSA exams were written in early July following a 2-month delay because of COVID-19. The Education Minister said it is clear that the students who should be going into grade 7 will not be able to do so from September. However, the Education Ministry is looking to put together a structured learning system that will involve the Learning Channel, online teaching, and various social media platforms.
So for sure, the Form 1 students, what we call grade 7 now, the cohort that just write Common Entrance, because they wrote the Common Entrance, the NGSA, very late in July, and we've fallen back a little bit on some of our timeline. The results are not going to be available until latest September 25th. So they clearly will not be in school for, assuming school reopens physically. They're not going to be engaged in physical teaching until after then. So for sure we know that about that cohort. What are we putting in place? I don't believe it's going to be a one-size-fits-all, because I don't think we have geographical challenges, we have connectivity challenges, we have different kinds of challenges. And I think we're trying to employ different means for different areas. What we are sure we want to do is to keep our children academically engaged. You know, the majority of our kids went without instruction or engagement in the last 5 months. I mean, COVID has happened upon us like it did around the world and caught us by surprise. So we don't want that to be the reality going forward. So a lot of urgent and hard work. Long hours have to go into making sure we're prepared to begin instruction in September when the Christmas term should have started. Whether we begin that physically or through the learning channel or through packages we deliver to homes or through e-learning or a combination of all. We'll have to decide, and we're still in the process of doing that.
Ms. Manichan said the Ministry of Education is looking at the possibility of also having learning packages delivered to homes. She said in every community the situation might be different, and the ministry wants to ensure all of the nation's children are exposed to a structured teaching and learning system. A Beefield family of 5 has been left homeless after a fire gutted their small wooden house this afternoon. The fire service was summoned to the scene just before 2 o'clock, but there was nothing that could have been saved. The 26-year-old mother of 3, Lashana Muhammad, was asleep in the house when she was awakened by screams. The distraught woman, with the assistance of a cousin, managed to escape with her children from the burning building. It is suspected that the fire might have been started by one of the young children, who it is believed was playing with matches. The confused mother was not able to save any of her belongings and was too distraught to speak to the media. However, her cousin Kevin Munilal explained how he had to swim across the trench to get to the house and save the children.
Well, first I was sitting on my chair reading a book and I heard screaming. And as I came to the door, I saw my cousin's house was on fire. So I dropped my iPad and I run and I plunge into the trench because I know if I take the longer route to do it. So I run and grab my cousins. I didn't basically care about the stuff that was in the house, but I just cared about my cousins, so I was confused. So I just ran to grab them, and there's nothing more that I could have done.
The Guyana Fire Service has launched a full investigation. Across the Region is coming up next.
Spend $3,000 in fuel at Falls Gas Station between August 3rd and September 30th and get a chance to win over 100 weekly prizes, or $3,000 in our recently renovated supermarket and you can win weekly prizes and one of 2 great food hampers in our summer promotion. At Falls, we provide a safe environment for you to shop, and you can choose from a wide range of products at unbeatable prices too, along with excellent service, of course. So shop now at Falls and make this a summer to remember.
We give thanks for real. You spend all that money on your watch. How much time you spend with your son? So much money in the club. How much you spend with the ones you love? The simple things are your blessings.
Cheese, please. Remember Tyrus Riley, this we aim to please. The music will never ease. Cheese, please.
We are legions of men standing strong, but never too proud to stoop and help someone. We must send a clear signal to all. Do right. Walk in upright ways, knowing that's what being a man is all about. And ever aware that things will only get worse when good men do nothing. Stand strong. Be the one to live right.
They've made a positive impact on the heavy-duty transportation industry in Guyana since they've arrived. Guyanese are amazed at their power, durability, efficiency, and superior handling capabilities. These are brand new trucks, manufactured in partnership with German, Italian, and French companies. They have a powerful reputation for operating under very adverse Guyanese conditions and come with full after-sales service and spare parts. They're the most sought-after trucks today, with over 500 units in Guyana, and they're available in over 100 countries, including South America and the Caribbean. Be smart. Buy brand new ST Howa trucks today. Call 608-4998 and arrange for an inspection at ST Truck Guyana Incorporated, Block B, Public Road, Covenant, East Bank, Demerara.
Across the region right now, the People's National Movement has won the elections again in Trinidad and Tobago, but with a reduced majority. The PNM has held on to government with the 22-19 election result, giving it a 3-seat majority. The party, which won 23 seats in the last general election back in 2015, lost the seat which it had won by the slimmest margin in that year. It didn't help that the PNM candidate Winston Gypsy Peters for that seat was seen as a rejected UNC candidate. A relieved-looking Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley said in his victory speech that it has not been an easy task, and he's ready to govern the people of Trinidad and Tobago, though some tough days are ahead. The Prime Minister also said he will ensure that the young people in Trinidad and Tobago are mentored and monitored to move into greater responsibility. While the Prime Minister declared victory last evening, the opposition leader Kamala Persad-Bissessar refused to accept defeat and said she would not be giving any concession speech. Further afield, the Bahamas government says it is lifting the lockdown imposed on several islands a week ago as part of the efforts to curb the spread of the coronavirus. Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis in a national broadcast said that the lifting of the restrictions on the islands is based on the advice of health experts, that the restrictions for public health purposes will not extend beyond what is thought to be absolutely necessary. The Prime Minister also said that a lockdown and curfew have been lifted for the islands because health officials have not recorded any suspected COVID-19 case at the locations for at least 2 weeks. Further assessment is required for the island before it can be given the all clear. And finally tonight, international news. Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden has named Senator Kamala Harris as his running mate in the upcoming U.S. elections. She is the first black woman to serve in the role. Once a rival for the top job, the California senator of Indian and Jamaican heritage had long been considered a front-runner for the position. The former California Attorney General has been urging police reform amid anti-racism protests. Mr. Biden will face President Donald Trump in the election on the 3rd of November. Vice President Mike Pence remains the Republican incumbent's running mate. Mr. Biden tweeted that he had the great honor to name Ms. Harris as his running mate. He described her as a fearless fighter for the little guy and one of the country's finest public servants. He also noted how she had worked closely with his late son Bill when she was California's Attorney General. The 55-year-old Kamala Harris, who is seen as a rising star within the Democratic Party, dropped out of the presidential race in December. She repeatedly clashed with Mr. Biden during the primary election debates, most notably criticizing his praise for the civil working relationship he had with former senators who favored racial segregation. The Democrat was born in Oakland, California, to 2 immigrant parents, an Indian-born mother and a Jamaican-born father. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I'm Gordon Mosley, reporting.